Yeah, I'm just gonna show you Putin the cat again. I got some cat vitamins coming up for him, and this subject of this video is not gonna be about him, but he likes junk food like Frisky, so he's gonna have some best cat vitamins because I take them. And yeah, he's born June 7th, so he's kind of like a big kitten. He's got a chip in him someplace up in here, so if he ever gets lost, that's cool. But you know, and I give him a little colloidal silver in his water so it never gets bad. So that's another cool thing. But I want to get onto something here about you know, the gun control thing and psychiatry. Now I'm just going to read this because if I display it, you know, maybe that's a, I don't know, but you know how that thing goes. If I you know, to explain something that I'm reading is probably cool. But this was basically from Bill Cooper, you know, the guy with Ruby Ridge and all that stuff. I think that guy was pretty legit. I think he was actually very legit in a lot of ways. More so than you never see anybody in the alternative media. And unfortunately, he's dead, right? And that usually is the legit people. You know, it's almost like I tend to listen to the doctors and stuff when I'm looking at alternative medicine. You know, they've been practicing for 30 years. They come across something very effective and cheap. And all of a sudden, they're the bad guy, you know? So I usually listen to the people like that, so they're actually giving you some kind of truth. But this is from Bill Cooper, and I'm going to explain this. It's about a link between psychiatry and the government and gun control. Very cool. Actually, it comes from chapter 12 of The Secret Government, a book he wrote. And this is what it said. The government encouraged the manufacture and importation of military firearms for criminals to use. You know, Eric Holder deal, right? Right? For real. This is intended to foster a feeling of insecurity which could lead the American people to voluntarily disarm themselves by passing laws against firearms. You know? All psychiatry, psychology, whatever you want to call it. Using drugs in hypnosis on mental patients is a process called Orion. The CIA inculcated the desire in these people to open fire on schoolyards and thus inflame the anti-gun lobby. The plan is well underway and is so far is working perfectly. The middle class is begging the government to do away with the Second Amendment. That was from his book, Chapter 12, The Secret Government. Now, Bill Cooper's been dead for like a long time now, way over a decade, right? So it's pretty interesting that he pointed this stuff out. So maybe there is a real, you know what, you know, as far as the word conspiracy, there's conspiracies and everybody, there's a lot of people that collude together in secret to, you know, for more power, more wealth, or whatever the hell it is. So this is not too far of a stretch of an imagination, but it's interesting that Bill Cooper pointed this out. But you know, I want to point out something else about, because I really can't, well, you know, I don't hate the psychiatry profession, the psychology profession, or the medical profession. Actually, I believe in true health and healing. I totally believe in that stuff. But I realize that a lot of these people are just a money racket. And, you know, the way it is in China and Japan, it's like you have to heal people or else you don't get paid. If a person's sick, your money goes down. That's a good way it should be. But, you know, I'm going to point something else out, not a commonly known thing, and I don't know where the books were where I researched it again. It was actually, cause I studied a little bit about Adolf Hitler because I was always curious, like, how the hell did this guy get into power and how did all this stuff happen? And you know, it's not actually all him. It's like the chain of ass kissers and the whole military complex. It's like a lot of people. It's almost like, you know, what happened with Henry Kissinger with the TSA. Did somebody on the top of the TSA say you're supposed to frisk the hell out of people in wheelchairs? No. These jerks just took it upon themselves to do so. So, like, you know, even when you had the Nazis, who the hell knows who? There's a lot of people to blame. It's not, it's easy to put the blame on the one guy, but I'm going to bring out this one little fact. You know, he was under, of course, you know, as a leader, politician, or under the care of a doctor. You know that Adolf Hitler was being given like these concoction, he used to call it some kind of vitamins, but it wasn't all vitamins. The doctor was putting other things in it to like to speed up his metabolism, and they were like amphetamines and stuff, and they had side effects where he made him paranoid. Amazing, huh? A little known fact. It almost makes you wonder, you know, with Hitler under all these pressures, you know, the war's going bad, some of the last minute decisions he made about Jews, you wonder how much of that decision was based upon that stupid doctor giving him crap. It's almost like anything else. I really can't stand the medical profession, the crooked medical profession. So, you know, maybe some of that was like, some of his decision was influenced by what the doctor gave him. And it's an interesting hypothesis. You really, you know, and you don't want to say like Hitler's not at fault, it's his doctor's fault. I mean, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, it's like the doctor is partly to blame for that stuff. And it's even the same case with the school shootings. But it's interesting how Bill Cooper brought out this program from the CIA called Orion. I don't know how he knows about it. It was actually designed to actually implement this as like a conspiracy. So I don't know. But you know, you're probably not going to hear this too many places, so I'm going to put this out here. But it actually comes from Bill Cooper, and another angle that I researched many years ago. Adolf Hitler's doctor was giving him some crap inside of his vitamins that made him a little more paranoid. And you know how that works? You know, if the leader says something, the chain of ass kissers got to go overboard to please him, so they do things even beyond what that jerk might have said, right? That's one reason we have a Constitution and a Bill of Rights. We have limited government. So, you know, even if the person is normal and the doctor gives them some crap, they're not normal anymore, right? And that's what happens then. What happens then? You know, the one leader becomes over exuberant in one area or the other. You know, that's one reason you never, no matter how good the leader is, you never want one person to have too much power. That's just how it goes. And that's our form of government. Our form of government is limited government. And that's one reason we have the Bill of Rights, big time. But it's interesting that there are people that are trying to undermine the Bill of Rights. And Bill Cooper pointed out stuff many years ago when he was alive, well over a decade ago, in chapter 12 of his book called The Secret Government, about where they had this process. They used hypnosis on mental patients in a process called Orion. The CIA inculcated the desire in these people to open fire on schoolyards and thus inflame the anti-gun lobby. I'm beginning to wonder. So, this is like some really screwed up stuff. But, you know, I'm glad there's one video out there, you know, that got about, I don't know, 4 million hits about, you know, the Sandy Hook shooting and all the inconsistencies about it. About what the medical examiner can't determine what rifle was used, and actually a rifle wasn't used and stuff. And I just want to throw in my 2 cents about my little knowledge about what, even with Adolf Hitler, how his stupid doctor gave him stuff that actually screwed him up worst, made him more paranoid. So if the guy was a little crazy in the beginning, he might not have been as crazy back when he was, you know, 10 years before the Holocaust happened, because he was a little, I don't know, maybe that doctor did something to him too. But that's another reason the medical establishment is to be watched more so than the guns. It's actually the medical establishment that's causing a lot of this problem in their greed and their profit taking, and it may be in coordination with damn government for all I know, or not the government, or certain elements that are trying to influence the government to push this policy. So that's something interesting, that medical is actually related to gun control big time. And even Adolf Hitler was made more paranoid than he normally was by his stupid doctor. So little known information out there. I forgot what the doctor called it, but it was some kind of concoction with the vitamins. They put these amphetamines in it, stuff like that, and it made him more and more paranoid. And what happens when you got a dictator that gets paranoid? Not cool, right? So doctors are bad.